Season 2 of the Pat and JT podcast.
Oh man, I'm here at last. The best time, always gonna be the best. Come on!
Exclusively on the Hurrdat Media Network.
All right.
Yesterday, before we left the office, what was the last thing you said to me, if you remember? Don't forget, because sometimes it gets really super warm in this office, even in the middle of winter.
Well, because we have a south-facing wall, and so we get a lot of sunshine. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 windows, big windows in 4 rooms, and just feeds in here. And it gets a little steamy in here sometimes.
It was 75 yesterday in my office, and that's hot, And
that was earlier in the day.
Yeah. That was earlier in the day. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to turn the air conditioner on just a little bit, just to give it a little boost. And as you walk out the door yesterday, like, hey, don't forget to turn the air off because it's going to be cold.
So it isn't 12 in here tomorrow morning. Yeah.
It wasn't quite 12, but it was 57 because I did keep the air on. I forgot to turn the heat back on.
Is this the second time?
Probably. I'm sure probably more.
Because they told me the same story the last time I was here.
Yeah.
That the air was still running.
Air was still running. Came in and it was in the 50s in here. It was freezing cold.
Sorry, Hurrdat Media, for that little boost.
I was just thinking, who pays that bill?
Not us anymore, yo.
Yeah, I would be climbing right up in his grill if it was still us.
I wouldn't have admitted to it if we were still paying for it. It's not our deal anymore.
Now we'll find out if they listen to our podcast.
Right. Oopsie. Yeah, it was cold.
So welcome back to the podcast, Rhianna.
Hello. I'm happy to be here.
It seems like it's like 2 weeks goes by so fast, but yet not really. You know what I mean? It's like, God, has it already been 2 weeks? And it's just
I think time is flying. But the last time I was here, it didn't get posted to Facebook. So I had people asking where it was. So.
That's right.
Oh, we've been shadow banned?
No. You were out of town.
Knew it.
And I just assumed you hadn't. Well, I have been shadow banned so many times. Like, I can't tell you. I block fact checkers probably at least 40 a week. I mean, they're all over my.
Most of the fact checkers are in other countries.
Well, yeah, and a lot of them are bots too. But
that's true
being
too.
shadow banned isn't
not even real.
Out of the question. But I think somebody just didn't post it to Facebook.
Sometimes our thingy doesn't post automatically.
It doesn't.
Yeah,
isn't that weird? Our thingy,
but
otherwise known
our
as Pat.
our auto poster.
I was wondering if that was just in Vegas and we didn't post it.
Our thingy was in Vegas.
Yeah. Oh my God! So and much like. So many rare things like leaving the air conditioner on. Did you all see the Bethlehem Star last night?
I did.
I did not. And I knew that it was going to happen. But I figured there's like a window of time. You don't have to be there. It's
Monday. No, well, not really.
I think it's gone. It's like forever gone.
I think that's it.
So like it's just there and just gone?
I think it was. So it's so Jupiter and Saturn are the closest they've been in like 800 years. And you could literally see them in the sky right next to each other. And
that's what makes the star.
Yeah. And in certain,
it's so bright and it shines. I like the pictures when it had that, the up and down perpendicular stream of light, like you see in the pictures of Jesus, baby Jesus, and you have the Bethlehem Star and it makes that almost like cross.
So that's where it comes from, is the two close. Really?
They're calling
I need to pay attention more. That's pretty awesome. So like it won't happen again tonight?
Well,
Not
it
like
might,
that.
but they start moving farther apart now.
It won't be
so
like that.
it won't be as cool. But you'll still see, I mean, in Nebraska, they just looked like 2 giant white dots. I didn't get the cool Bethlehem Star picture, but I saw one from South Africa and one from Georgia. So
that's cool.
I don't know. I know they were spraying the southwest skies really heavily yesterday with chemtrails, and so they were intently trying to hide. That was my observation. They were trying to hide.
Who's they? Here we go. Like she just rolls into that like, well, we were going to wheat fields to have a sandwich. They were just spraying the southern sky with who's they?
Well, I say because I know who they are. But okay, I don't need to go down that road already. But anywho, sorry, I really didn't mean to go there. It just pops out of my freaking mouth. Can I tell you? I got to tell you a funny story about just things popping out of my mouth. Okay. So this might make some people squirm, but so I rarely ever drink because even one beer and my vibration is screwed, and I just get all weird. And so I'm just thinking, wait,
I know where my mind goes when I have a drink.
Right. Can you imagine?
Can't even.
Her mind is already there.
So, oh my God. Okay. My mind is always there. But so I had 2 drinks with a girlfriend of mine, and then her boyfriend showed up, and he is a retired Air Force. Watches Fox News, you know, traditional conservative. And great guy. And I just assume that everybody like knows what I know, right? And so I started talking about, I don't know how 9/11 came up, but I started talking about
I have an idea.
The CG.
After being around you clowns, I have an idea.
My friend that I was with isn't into all this stuff. And so it just came out of my mouth. And I was feeling a little bit buzzed. And it took me like 2 minutes too long to realize I was making him incredibly uncomfortable. He was like squirming and he kept biting his lip. And I was like, yeah, so the planes were actually CGI. I mean, we were literally watching a movie. And he's like, Rhianna, I watched the plane hit the Pentagon. I'm like, no, you didn't. You watched a CGI movie. And he just is squirming. I'm like, and then it dawned on me. I'm like, oh shit. I should probably stop talking about this.
I'm hammered.
Oh, sorry.
Not so much that I don't realize I'm hammered.
It just starts. I'm like, oh, my audience isn't like, I need a different audience.
You have to read the room. Got to read the room.
That's the name of the podcast today,
I'm
too.
really
Gotta
good
read
at
the
that.
room.
So long story short, that's why I don't drink. Crazy things, even crazier things.
Oh, when was the last time you were back for a high school reunion?
Oh,
and were you like you are now in high school? Not as outspoken, I'm assuming.
As outspoken. I wasn't awake in high school yet either. Right. I've always been a little bit what people would describe as quirky.
Yeah.
But I haven't been to, because I transferred to Papillion La Vista my junior year to play softball.
Tough. Yeah.
And back then, nobody was really moving into Papillion. So I was this weird
It was a small
kid.
town.
Yeah, and they all knew each other since diapers, and thank God I played softball, and I went to Papillion to play softball. So it took me a while to really feel comfortable there. So I don't know that any of those people would really remember me, and so I haven't been back since like the 10-year reunion. So
that's all right. I get it.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been to a reunion. I'd be going up on what? I was 92, so is this 30 years?
I think I went to. We had a 5-year. Did you have a 5-year?
I honestly don't remember. I think maybe I was at one because it coincided with Waterloo days, and I went there. But other than that, I've never been to a reunion.
Small towns tend to have, because you have smaller classes,
yeah.
And so you have every 5 years or so.
We had like 600 people, and there were people walking across the stage. I'm like, who's that? Like I'd never seen them in my life. So
we had 600 in the whole school.
That'd be so weird. That'd be so weird to
like kindergarten to seniors,
right? Like legit times 2.
I think there's. But you know why I don't do stuff like that? Because I hate small talk. I really do.
So do I. I'm not a big small talker.
That's the thing.
It's not fun for me.
Reunions are all about it's just that you by matter of chance ended up in this town, and that's where you ended up going to school. It wasn't a choice. You didn't seek out a group of people that you had something in common with besides your zip code.
Right.
Really?
You had no choice. I mean, you had a choice, but you didn't have a choice.
Yeah,
you moved
exactly.
Or
and so you had some shared experiences, but after 18, that stopped.
So
interesting.
Like my kids are into play dates right now, and I went to I'm part of a group called Nebraskans Against Government Overreach, and we had a Christmas party Friday night, and it was normal, and Santa was there, and it was.
I love how the first word out of her mind to describe it is it's normal.
No, it was, because this year's not normal. Like, honest to God,
that's normal.
I get
normal.
It.
I thought you meant conversation.
No, my kids, I asked them, do you want to see Santa if it means a mask and a plexiglass? And they're like, no, thank you. Like, they are 9, and they rejected Santa this year if it meant that. And so this party was normal in that.
Got it.
But they made a bunch of friends, and so these parents are texting me, and they're like, you want to get together for a play date? I'm like, yes. Like, sure.
You mean me too?
Or? Yeah, well, because I don't know them, so I'm not going to just drop my kids off and like hope for the best, right? But I also, like, what are we going to talk about? Like, it's painful to just be normal for an hour, right? So, so like, even at that party, I started going into with a conservative woman who sees a lot of what I see, but I started going all the way down the rabbit hole, and she's like, yeah, no, like that's too far. So
not going to go that
far. To practice small talk. Yeah. Like, I'm just not good at it.
It's tough. It's tough to just pull. You have like your crop of weather, football, school, and it's like once you exhaust those after 90 seconds, like what do you do?
Because everybody has the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, so I am
points.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious about people, so I'll start asking them questions, and then that makes them uncomfortable too. They're like, "What is this of?"
They don't really want to have a conversation.
Yeah. Or like, they don't. People are just so guarded. So, and I'm just not. I'm guarded to a point.
They're wondering, do you work for the government? Why are you?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, what is this, an interrogation?
Where's your badge?
I'm just curious. Like, what makes you tick? So
that's interesting. Interesting when you say that about being uncomfortable. We have one of our podcasters here. I was a guest on one of his episodes. And realized, I told Pat afterwards, that's the first time I've been a guest on a podcast.
Oh, wow.
And not Pat and JT, just me. And it was really unnerving. It really was. And on top of it, he had video. So it's posted. So my uncle saw it in Washington State. He saw it and he posted, he commented on it. And I'm like, because I forgot. Oh, crap, I forgot it was out yesterday because we did this last week. And so he made a comment about he loved it and this and that. And I'm like, oh, my God. Because I'm stressed and thinking, did I say too much?
Did I gosh.
Oh, my God.
Did I cross the line? Right. Last week when we had...
that is like daily for me. I
understand that now. Now I know why you don't drink.
I was stressing that.
I bet. Well, and then you sit back and you try to relive the entire 40 minutes.
Yeah, because I didn't have control
over
the conversation. I did, but I didn't because he was asking the questions.
Or was your point... received the way you intended it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Last week when we had, was it last week or the week before, whatever, Shelter in Place, we had Laura on, one of the podcasts that are on our network.
Yeah.
It's called Shelter in Place, and she was on, and she had sent me a text yesterday because we don't produce her podcast, but it's on our network. So she sends us the episode and we post it, promote it. Yay. She sends me a note yesterday. It's like, hey, might need to swap something out, change the episode for me because I was telling a story in this episode about some family friends that I thought were dead, but they're not dead. And she goes, my mom says they'll probably be listening. Like, okay, not a problem. So she had to cut that out. I just assumed they were dead. I'm like, who assumes?
Why would you?
After so long of not seeing them, you just kind of, they must be dead.
They got to be dead.
Right?
I just love that. That's what she went. Not like, hey, haven't heard from Becky and Ron in a long time. But
instead of going right to dead. That's true. That is true. It's funny. It is. It's unnerving. So anyway, all right. So back to
man, this took one heck of a turn from the Bethlehem Star
background. So the Bethlehem Star, 800 years ago, it shows up. That was in the 1600s.
That was the last time we saw this.
Or 1500s,
yeah, it's
or
called
something
the Great
like that.
Conjunction.
It was more than that. I don't even know what it was.
Well,
anyway,
I've seen
it's been
different
a long
numbers.
time.
I've seen 1400s, 1600s. It's been a very long time.
All the way back to 1226 to see a closer alignment of those two planets. 1226.
Isn't it crazy that somebody in 1226 wrote it down?
I know.
Like, holy cow.
I think
Ezekiel, did you see that?
There's some
the aliens are probably tracking all
there was
this.
some math involved in this. I'm sure somebody didn't jot it
Mother,
down.
come here. Go Saturnus.
Chisel this in the wall.
Right, hurry. Tink, 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 tink. Saturnus and that other light are close.
Bethlehemisk star. I don't know, whatever.
I mean, I get it. You're right. Probably they can backdate with that.
Probably. I'm going to say it's a good chance. Anyway, go right ahead, girl.
Oh my God. Right. So we are officially in the Aquarian Age, which is really exciting energetically. So we were in a Pisces energy. And when the Great Conjunct happened last night, we switched from those planets used to be in Capricorn, which is very much top-down structure. So there's the boss up here and then all the peons down there. And we're switching to Aquarius energy, which is about community, about what's good for everybody, about service. We're moving away from service to self to service to others. And so Aquarian energy is all about community, thinking outside the box, big ideas, technology. So we'll see things like cures and medbeds and energy healing becoming the norm. And just what's best for all of us rather than just what's best for me.
Is Aquarian energy something that happens every year, or is it like a special
So this is special because so we have like moons in Aquarius, and then like certain planets will move into Aquarius, but this is like the overall energy is in Aquarius now, and it's really a huge deal. And it's just big because for so long it was all about the man making the money, and we're just enslaved to debt, and truth is hidden, and just so much of the darkness that we've known is going to be shifting, and it's monumental right now. Like, I mean, we literally lived the last time this energy, we moved out of the Dark Ages into the Renaissance period. That's how big of a shift this energy is. Yeah. That's and so huge, yeah. For us here, I mean, a lot of us that are awake know we chose to be here right now for this time and this shift. And I went outside yesterday and was like, this is the first day of the whole reason I'm here right now. Like, this is amazing.
That's pretty big.
It was huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When you think about that, because when that happened, I mean, we read about it in school, and you see movies about the different periods, but there had to be a huge shift in everyone's thinking.
Yeah, it's a massive consciousness shift
at that time, because it had to have. There is the Dark Ages, there is a Renaissance period. Mm-hmm. So somewhere in between, there was that shift that moved it toward, and we're seeing that because like even so much of the truth has been hidden from us, and things have been going on while they're saying, no, look over here, don't look behind the curtain, right? And that's literally what's shifting right now, and it will be a mass consciousness shift. It's almost like we're going to wake up one of these days and people somebody will say, yeah, aliens are real. And so be like, oh yeah, I always knew that. See, okay. Like it'll just be that magnificent. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's not even about aliens. It's about the purpose of being here and who you really are and why you are here right now. And it'll just be this shift in consciousness, and you won't have even questioned it. It'll just be like, the truth, who you are, right? It is amazing. It's amazing. It's so exciting.
Cool.
It really is.
Yeah, it is cool.
I mean, as much chaos as is going on right now, there's a purpose. You know what I mean? It's like it has to happen. It has to.
Well, and I would love to say that we're just going to wake up in February and like it's all like sunshine and rainbows. There will be more chaos.
Yeah.
But that's because the old structures have to fall and shift. But what is the saying? Chaos precedes great change, right?
Yes.
So we'll see that. We've been seeing it. We'll probably see even more of it, but it's a good thing.
How long does this last? This Aquarius energy. Yeah, or the transition.
Oh, the transition. I don't know. It might take a couple of years, but it'll be fast. Like I'm already seeing people just shifting really quickly. But this is like the golden age. So it could be thousands. It's supposed to be, okay. So don't quote me on this, but every 26,000 years, we change from Pisces energy to Aquarius energy to the next one. We go through the zodiac, and each grouping reflects a certain energy. So we've been in that way for 26,000 years. And so yesterday was day one of the new 26,000 year energy.
Is that related in any way to, remember back when the Mayan calendar? Because that was in 13,000 year, I think. It was like there was an end to it. And
so the Mayan calendar was, from what I've read, and I'm
going to say, interrupt you real quick. The Mayan calendar was probably, and when I think about it now, that's probably when I started going, about things. Just a little bit.
Yeah. Rightfully so.
That was
crazy.
A few years back, like in 12 or something like that, wasn't it?
When the world was supposed to end, right?
Yeah. Yes. And I was like, wait, what? And started kind of digging into things a little bit. So that was probably the first thing that got my attention.
So I believe that the Mayan calendar reflected the end of the Pisces energy. But there was this transition time, which we've been in now. And then now it's like officially the Aquarian Age. And so that would make sense why the consciousness started to shift. I mean, I woke up in officially 2016, but I can look back and see it's really started in like 14. I started eating organic food and messing with essential oils, and just things started to shift about right after that time. And so, yes, the energy was changing and more light was flooding in. And here we are. We're all living it.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing.
It's something.
Like yesterday will be in the future.
To think how, like, if it's 26,000 years or whatever this transition is going to potentially take. That's kind of for people that are like 47 like me. It's like, dude, I'm going to miss a lot of that. Like, because The Simpsons is a great show, okay? And the first couple seasons of The Simpsons, look back now, the graphics are terrible. It's not that funny. But as you move on, so like the first couple decades of this transition, people are going to look back in 100 or so years and go, that kind of sucked still.
So you
look
feel
how
like
we
you're
are now.
playing the Oregon Trail right
yes,
now.
yes. That's exactly right.
Yes.
Like I want to skip to awesome stuff.
But it will be awesome. I mean, so maybe when the Medbeds come, you're going to live until you're 800 years old. So you might not miss it all. So Medbeds are technology that exists right now that will fix the DNA and heal all diseases. It is vibrational and light and sound technology, and it is here now.
They're already using that. Yeah,
they are, but it's being hidden because you are worth more sick, and Big Pharma creates customers, not long-term
100%.
solutions, right?
Exactly.
So the Medbeds are being hidden right now, but I believe that we will see Medbeds in the year 2021.
Because people have been talking about, especially use of different light technologies and vibrational technologies, and we've been talking about that, and I can't remember the name of that scale of the vibration.
Solfeggio frequencies.
Thank you. And in talking about that, and that's the first time I'd ever heard of that was last year. Thank you.
Yeah, and there's... Sorry,
no, that's okay. But and people were talking about using light therapies, and everybody's like scoffing. Like this is ridiculous. And then you realize, that really does exist. That really is a thing that is being looked into. It's just not widespread, like you said. It's being used, but not out.
Well,
in public.
So Rockefeller hired this guy named Wexner to research all alternative medicines and blah, blah, blah. And this was like back in the 20s or 30s. I think it was early 30s when the American Medical Association was created. And they, like 98% of the colleges that taught medicine taught holistic and natural practices. And because Rockefeller owned a bunch of petroleum, he wanted to make petroleum-based drugs, and they were crossing the brain barrier and causing disease. And so he needed to change the entire system. And so he personally got involved and changed what we know now as medicine. But it's not medicine. It's sick care. It isn't proactive wellness. And that's what we're shifting away from. And so the light and the sound, it will be in the consciousness. Like people will just know that it's a thing. So even like there was a doctor named Dr. Rife. He has a Rife machine, RIFE, and it touted that it cured cancer through through vibration and sound. And it was completely destroyed by the government, and he was, his lab was ruined. And it's because you can't cure cancer. Like there's no money in that. And that's something we're going to find this year. And so what I do, I know in my lifetime, what I do at the energy healing will be the go-to. You will go to a doctor if your arm is broken and it needs reset, but everything else will be done through light, sound, and energy. It just makes
sense, though. It makes sense. It really does.
It does.
And that's what we're shifting to. And more people are realizing that. I mean, talk about shift in consciousness. I mean, I do what I do full time, and enough people seek me out. There's still a lot of people that think what I do is weird, but the people that seek me out, their lives are changing and shifting for the better.
And more of them are willing to talk about it in public.
That's the big thing, is talking about it. But so that's how it gets into the consciousness, right? But that's what we're shifting away from.
That's interesting. That whole era in the 20s and 30s probably as well, is just like there was so much going on organizationally and the power structure, everything from banking, medicine. You think Tesla was in that era as well.
He was destroyed. All of his technology was. Exactly. Who wants free electricity? Not the people that run it.
That's the thing. That whole technology, just as that piece by itself, and then the connection to the Trump family is Donald Trump's uncle
I love this story.
Right?
You're gonna go there, right on.
Was assigned to go through all of Tesla's documents. He had all that and then said, there's nothing here.
He was hired specifically to rebuild the time machine.
And
he said he couldn't do it. But why do the Simpsons know everything before it actually happens? Like, there's like
the Simpsons twice in an episode. Yeah.
Like, I brought it up because you mentioned it. And then you look at the book, The Last President, or the book from, I think it's 1863, and it's the Congress Library, and it talks about Barron Trump, and it's literally a picture
literally
of him.
is Barron Trump with his guide, whose name is Don.
I know.
What?
Seriously. Who travels time, Barron Trump. And the name of the book, there are so many weird things about that. Just Google that little thing, or DuckDuckGo it if you're like me.
Don't Google it; they won't tell you shit.
They won't, and then they'll know you're looking for it. So don't do it.
You're on a list.
Some list. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, then you're gonna get doxxed.
Then you're shadow banned.
Yes, and you're gonna spray chemtrails on your house. Then you're screwed.
I laugh only because it is so fantastical.
You think you're like acting like we're joking? We're not.
I know you're not joking. That's what's so. Just being here, it's like it's not. I know you're not joking. I know you're not.
They are
joking.
spraying you.
I do believe that the chemtrail thing for sure. I used to listen to Art Bell on the radio a lot. He would always talk about chemtrails, and I've always been fascinated by chemtrails because I know they're screwing with us.
Didn't you wonder why you were so fascinated with him? Because literally, I mean, he was a good broadcaster because he was a good storyteller. He's a great interviewer, but his theories, and you're like, how on earth? And he's out in Pahrump, Nevada, in the middle of a desert somewhere, miles from anybody else in his little one-bedroom
probably the
studio.
Best place to be right now.
Honestly,
I think he's dead, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's in a much better place.
Sure? Are we
I don't know. I'll talk to the shelter-in-place people. No, I know you guys are serious, and I don't think it's crazy at all. I really don't. I know a lot of people do. But if you went back 60 years and talked about the internet, people were like, you're crazy, you space person.
That whole time in the 20s, 30s, even 40s, in particular, is when there were so many things that were being put in place to control
and minimize
and also enrich certain people. And those in power at that time, that's when you saw the FCC. That's when you saw, again, we said banking, central banking, income tax, the IRS. All those things started happening in that period right after the crash.
Yep.
In the 20s, right? And it was like, oh, well, now's the time because everybody is destitute to organize all these ways to help, quote unquote, everybody. And nobody would say no because they didn't have power to feed themselves each day.
Well, look what's happening right now too, with all the businesses going under and everything changing because of COVID. Now people that have been out of work for 7, 8, 9 months haven't had any money, and they dangle these little $600 checks and like, yes, thank you, because they need the money.
Yeah. I actually had a dream a couple nights ago. No, probably about a month ago now, that they and many intuitives have said that they're having similar dreams where they are doing that. They're crashing the economy on purpose so that we will be more easily herded into socialism or communism. If we are destitute and have nothing, we will easily and gladly take what it is. And so that's why I continue to fight. I mean, I can't tell you the number of friends or past Reiki students or clients I've lost this year because I will not back down. I fight for the little bit of freedom, and the people that think I'm selfish, it's like, you don't realize what I see 10 miles down the road, that where they're hurting you into, what they're trying to force you to do and to agree to. And I know that there's enough of us globally that the structures are falling, but we still need people to realize what's happening and say, I do not consent. And I know there is the tipping point happened. It's already happened, and there's no going back. And the light won, and it's going to be really interesting to watch the cognitive dissonance fall away. The people that don't want their beliefs questioned, that reject everything and call us conspiracy theorists, right?
Right.
That's all falling away, and it's a really, really exciting time. And if people are guided to me, it's because they chose to be here now at the same time. And we're watching. We chose the front seat of the roller coaster to like ride the ride. Like we're here right now to see this.
That always scared me to death too. Speaking of which, I always chose that. Always chose the front, even though it's terrifying.
Because you want to get it over with sooner?
Because I like that. Yeah, because you can see what's coming if you're in the back. You see what's ahead. If you're in the front, you get to experience it first. And it's just like, and especially you come over the top and then drop down, it's just like nothing in front of you.
No, thank you.
But it's shifting. And I even posted today on my personal Facebook page on January 18th, 2019, I had a meditation and I saw a big number 1 and I saw a percent, and it was representing the 1%ers. And the bottom of this 1 opened, and everything that they held and controlled was leaking out the bottom and being redistributed.
Oh, wow.
And now we are seeing, if you believe that the Vatican has been raided and all that gold has been taken, and everybody that's committed a crime against humanity has been, their assets have been taken. And that was in a EO, I forget that, in 2018. So the redistribution is coming, and people suffering and the pain they've been through, it's coming, but we need people to realize that they basically just have to stand up and say no more, but
it's true. It is.
Yeah, and this year has been all about justice for me. I'm not into revenge. I just don't want to see people suffer anymore, and it is about the karma and justice, and if you're going to continue to harm humanity, like, you can't be here anymore, so
no, I agree with you on that too, because I think that some of the things that we've seen lately in particular, it's almost become, it's to the point where it is I can't continue to go along with the charade to the point where you've got I bet there's over 10 names that we could name really quick that quickly tell you to do X and then do Y.
Oh, yeah. And just in the last week, you can think of 10.
Right?
100%.
And just flagrantly.
It's disgusting.
And just flagrantly.
Right.
And you're like, okay, you really, you want me to believe this, but you're seriously not doing this because you really don't believe that.
Well, to create confusion is one of the ways that they overtake the people. So it's you keep them in fight or flight and fear, and then you confuse them. And
I think more people are seeing
just sitting ducks. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
people are seeing, and they're also fighting back about not being able to have their job and make a living. And I get some people will say, well, that's just selfish if you do that because we're trying to stop the spread of this disease. And it's like, you know what? Then call it, thin in the herd. Just, go ahead. If those people still want to go to businesses that still want to be open and still want to do their thing, you don't have to go.
Yeah. And that's what I don't understand is you don't have to go. You don't have to do any of that. But why take away everybody else's ability to feed their children?
If you're closing people down, and I know they're trying, that's $600. So we've got what, $1,800 in 10 months or
something like that.
8 months, I
it's
think
like
total.
Not even like $600 isn't even half of a month of rent. Like that's not going to do anything.
It is an insulting amount.
But we're sending millions of dollars,
billions,
to like
millions,
Pakistan,
billions
to Egypt. Like what in the?
Yeah.
So anyway, there's a whole bunch behind that too. But basically, change is coming.
Are you going to be back in before the end of the year? Is this it?
I'll be back January 5th.
Okay, that's
so
exciting.
we can talk about the next year and how to manifest, like how they want it to set the tone.
Yeah.
Rhianna, thank you.
Thank you. RhiannaMays.com if anybody needs me.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you for coming
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Happy
Merry
New Year,
everybody.
Merry Christmas. All right, so you can call us 402-403-9478. Thank you for listening to our podcast. Rate us and review us and share.
JT Podcast, a Hurrdat Media Production.